Okay, quick take on alternator weaves. This is Josh Mickle's special. So alternator is this guy, but you can bend that out to have an atomic alternator where each half of the alternator is actually moving in a different plane. But you can also bend out the alternator as it's moving across a pattern so that each part of it is actually bending as you go. So this is what would be the root of the alternator weave, and it's thumb coming over the top of the other hand and then shifting to slide the pinky down, back, and under the other side, and then some pendulum waviness and a flip switch. So here's the full alternator weave. Very index dominant, and it feels almost as if you're doing pinky led cross or stall chasers. So thumb led stall chaser to non-native, pinky led stall chaser back to native side. So thumb to non-native, pinky back to native, or thumb native, pinky non-native. And this is kind of the root of it, all planar, but then add in some sexy plane bends, and you have this alternator weave. Now this alternator weave has lots of roots and lots of places that it has crossover, particularly inside of the pendle weave. Again, Josh Mickle for figuring this one out, or kind of expanding this. So we have pendulum versus weave stack, and then you can bring one up and over to switch which one's in front. I'm actually not very good at this, but you can switch which one's in front by popping up and over like this, and have just a continuous rhythm of the next one and the next one, but then kind of adding being able to take this into the alternator weave is a really consistent and easy flow. The next piece of that is this pendulum versus extension weave, which Ezra Ezerson has been calling the Vulcanut weave. The variation that he uses that makes it really particular is that instead of using the extension coming in wheel plane, he's actually doing an atomic extension, so that when the extension is coming around, the pinky's actually slicing across in horizontal so that it lands and does a full spin when it gets underneath the other one, instead of instead of letting a pendulum kind of triangle out. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this up is because it all relates to these U-mode weaves in wheel plane, because you can dip out and you can use the alternator weave to transition from wall plane to wheel plane and across the body. I don't have the reverse alternator weave yet, which would be using from the reverse side, being able to pinky lead back over and under like that, which is just a little beyond me right now, but I really want to figure it out. So here's just a few examples of how that alternator weave can be used. So there's alternator weave, and then being able to throw, or being able to start in what would be like the extension versus pendulum weave, and then being able to switch into alternator weave as a means of getting from the extension pendulum into the U-mode weave from the side. Here's extension pendulum into alternator weave, and then alternator weave. You can, if I'm feeling this one out right, you can also use the alternator weave to get into crossers. Hold on, that was almost it. U-mode, alternator weave, crosser. There you go. Hope that all makes sense.